Good day, grade 2. Welcome to our English class. Today, we will try to recognize and identify phrases, recognize and identify sentences, and after that, we will differentiate phrases and sentences. Let's start our lesson with a poem entitled A Mask for You, A Mask for Me by Katrina Carlton. So, let's read the poem. A Mask for You, A Mask for Me by Katrina Carlton. A mask for you, a mask for me, a mask for everyone I see. Why wear a mask, I do dare ask? It seems to be a daunting task. I care for you, you care for me, we care for everyone we see. I want you safe, so I cover my face. We don't know who's sick, so just in case. I wash my hands, you wash your hands. Everyone washes their hands all around. We scrub, scrub, scrub the germs away. Our hands are clean, so hooray! 6 feet apart, you and I can play. That's how we keep the germs at bay. Don't be sad, for this won't last. One day we'll hug and have a blast. Do you like the poem? I hope you like it. Today, we will study about phrases and sentences. Do you have any idea when you hear the word phrases and sentences? I have two groups of words, Group A and Group B. Let's first read the words in Group A. Clean hands, wear a mask, wash hands. While in Group B, we have we care for everyone we see. Why do we need to wear a mask? One day, we will hug and have a blast. What can you observe between the two groups? Exactly. Words in Group A are shorter than words in Group B. It is because Group A is an example of phrases. Do you have any idea about a phrase? Yes, look at letter A, clean hands. A phrase is a group of words with no complete meaning or message. Because look at the words clean hands, it has no complete meaning or no complete message. Next, look at the next example. Wear a mask. A phrase, it starts with a small letter. That's why, look at the words wear a mask, it starts with a small letter W. Lastly, wash hands. A phrase does not end with a punctuation mark. Remember the three basic punctuation marks? Period, question mark, and exclamation point. Wash hands has no punctuation mark. That's why it's an example of a phrase. Let's remember these three important things for you to consider that a group of words is a phrase. First, phrase has no complete meaning. Next, phrase begins with a small letter. Remember the baby letters like A to Z? And lastly, phrase has no punctuation mark, no period, no question mark, no exclamation point. Now, let's try to solve the phrase puzzle. Recall the three things that you need to remember in a phrase. First, no complete meaning. Phrase has no complete meaning or message. Good job! Next, it starts with a small letter. And the last one, a phrase has no punctuation mark. I think you are all good and I think you really understood what a phrase is. So let's move on to Group B. Look at the words in Group B. You are correct. They are actually longer than the group of words in Group A because they are called the sentences. Do you have any idea what a sentence is? Look at the first example. We care for everyone we see. A sentence has complete meaning or complete message. Next, look at the second example. Why do we need to wear a mask? The sentence starts with a capital letter or big letter. In this case, it starts with a capital letter W. Next, one day we will hug and have a blast. A sentence ends with a punctuation mark. In this example, we use exclamation point. And again, remember, don't forget these three important things. A sentence has complete meaning. Next, a sentence always begins with a capital letter. And last one, a sentence always ends with a punctuation mark. It could be period, question mark, or exclamation point. And now, can you solve the sentence puzzle? Recall the three things that you need to remember in a sentence. First, a sentence has complete meaning. Next, it starts with a big letter. And the last one, it always ends with a punctuation mark. Good job! I think you're now good in phrases and sentences. So let's differentiate the two. If a phrase has no complete meaning or message, remember that a sentence has complete meaning or message. If a phrase starts with a small letter, a sentence always begins with a capital or big letter. And last one, a phrase has no punctuation mark, but a sentence always ends with a punctuation mark. Now, I think you are all ready for game time. Are you ready? Directions: write phrase if the group of words is a phrase, and sentence if it's a sentence. But be sure to write the correct spelling of the word phrase and the correct spelling of the word sentence. You have 15 seconds to answer the question. Please try your best to write the correct spelling of your answer. Alright, so 15 seconds is up. So let's start question number 1. Under the sea, is it a phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Alright, so under the sea is an example of a phrase. Good job! Because it has no complete meaning, it starts with a small letter and there's no punctuation mark. I hope you got the correct answer. Question number 2. With my parents. Is it an example of a phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Alright, time's up. The correct answer is a phrase because with my parents, it starts with a small letter, it has no punctuation mark, and there's no complete message. That's why the correct answer is a phrase. Let's move on to question number 3. A loving friend. Is it a phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Okay, the correct answer is a phrase because a loving friend is an example of a phrase. It has no complete message. Next, number 4. There were polar bears in the pools. What is the answer? Is it a phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Alright, time's up. The correct answer is a sentence. There were polar bears in the pools is an example of a sentence because it has complete message. It starts with capital letter and it ends with a period. Very good. Next, question number 5. In the tanks. Is it a phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Alright, the correct answer is a phrase. In the tanks is an example of a phrase. Very good. Next question. We went to the oceanarium last weekend. What is the answer? Is it a phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Alright, time's up. The correct answer is yes, it's a sentence. It is an example of a sentence because it has complete message. It starts with capital letter and it ends with a period. Very good. Next, question number 7. Jellyfish and seahorse. Is it an example of a phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is a phrase. Jellyfish and seahorse is an example of a phrase. Very good. Let's move to question number 8. It was an amazing experience. Is it a phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Time's up. The correct answer is a sentence. Very good. It was an amazing experience is an example of a sentence. Question number 9. Chicken and pasta. Is it an example of a phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Alright, the correct answer is a phrase. Very good. Let's move on to the last question. Do you want to visit there too? What is it? A phrase or a sentence? Timer starts now. Alright, time's up. The correct answer is a sentence. Very good. Do you want to visit there too is an example of a sentence because it starts with capital letter, it ends with a question mark, and it has complete message. What's your score? I hope you got good score. But don't worry, we will have more activities like this in our next synchronous session. For the meantime, I want you to think of your own example of a phrase and a sentence, and be ready to share it with the class next synchronous session. I hope you learned something today and you learned something about phrases and sentences. Be ready for our next session. Bye!